Hello and thank you for watching Guitar 101 Rammstein. In this video I'm going to go over the top 5 common mistakes I see usually in beginners and sometimes in people that are well beyond beginner stage. These are just some common mistakes people do in their technique and playing that will make it harder to play and make you sound worse. So let's just jump to it and get to them. These are in no particular order, by the way, but number 1 would be fret placement. Alright, I'm gonna put the guitar closer and let's look at my 2nd fret here. So we have the what I'll call the top fret wire and the bottom fret wire. You always want to be as close as possible to that bottom fret wire. When I'm playing, it looks, some of my students think I'm actually pushing on, holding right where the fret wire is. I'm just right up against it. It's an excellent habit to get into. One reason is your fingers to reach are closer. You're going to get the best tone here. It'll work in the middle of the fret. It's not going to change the tone really. If you play at the top of the fret, you're going to get buzz. If you push hard enough, you're going to bend the string out of tune to get rid of that buzz. But the way I look at it is you're aiming at a smaller target this way, and you start to get more precise in your playing. Of course, in some chords, we're not going to, like an A major chord, you're not going to be able to fit all the fingers right there, but you're going to get as close as you can in those cases. But for single notes, always try to just play as close as you can to the fret wire. Alright, so number 2 is posture. I see this a lot with beginner students, and I have to remind them a lot. It's easy for them to forget. Their posture is bad, so it's going to make it harder to play everything. If you're sitting down and playing an acoustic guitar, it doesn't matter which leg you have it on, whatever's more comfortable. You see I switch back and forth. You want the guitar straight, like straight up and down, not going like this, and you want the neck angled upwards a little bit. You know, basically what I'm looking for is the side angle. My wrist is at a nice kind of straight, relaxed position this way. If I have the guitar neck dipping down, my wrist starts to bend, and it makes it very hard to move the fingers and very hard to reach the frets. So that is a big thing, is posture. Along with that would be relaxation. Sometimes, especially when you're trying to play like a really hard to reach chord or something, you'll see people start to tense up and they get everything tensed up. That makes everything harder to move. So sometimes if something's really hard to play, if you're trying to reach a chord or a fret that's far away, ask yourself, is my hand relaxed? And you'll probably say no. Relax it, shake it out, whatever, and then try it again, and keep everything from your fingers all the way up to your shoulder to the side of your neck relaxed. And you'll find it becomes much, much easier that way. Along with that, before I move on, is thumb placement. That's an easy one to miss, especially if you're teaching guitar, because usually you're facing face to face, so you don't see their thumb. And I've had some students, they have weak fingers, so they're not pushing down hard enough and sounding like that. And then sometimes I'm like, wait, why is it so hard for them? And I look from a different angle and see their thumb is like, it's floating or in a weird position, like off to the side. You want to have the thumb behind about the middle and index finger. It is going to pivot upwards and downwards. If I'm playing on my 6th string, my low E string, my thumb will be lower. As I go down the strings, my thumb will go higher. That's normal, but make sure it's supporting behind the fingers. Think of like that. Alright, so on to number 3, strumming placement. This is particular for acoustic guitar. You know, if you're playing an electric guitar, it's going to be more common, especially if you're palm muting, to strum here close to the bridge. But I see people on acoustic guitar strumming here next to the bridge. It can work, but it's not the ideal place to strum. Strum over the sound hole. You will move it around once you get more advanced. You're going to control your tone that way. You'll see back here it's more twangy, a lot of treble. As I move this way, you start getting bassier and bassier. So optimally, mostly if you're playing when you're beginning, just play right over that sound hole, get in that habit. And like I said, acoustic guitar especially. With electric guitar, you're going to, okay, if you're playing distortion with palm muting, you're going to be here more often. That's a different story. Alright, so onwards to number 4. That is staring at your hands when you play. A lot of people, especially beginners, they're staring at their right hand because they want to hit the right string. So if they're playing like an arpeggiated pattern, they're like, And usually when they do that, the left hand starts to move on them. So I'll have them hold like one chord and play an arpeggio, and as they're doing it, this hand just starts moving around on them. There's a few problems, I should say, with staring at the right hand or any hand. You'll never learn to memorize where the strings are. Think of learning to type. When someone learns how to type properly, they don't look at the keyboard. And the only way to learn to type properly is by practicing not looking at the keyboard. It's the same with the guitar. If you want to play and sing and you're like this, it's not going to work. You're at the wrong posture to project your voice properly. You're not going to be facing the microphone. Looking at what you're doing is just a distraction. It's really not going to help you. It feels like it does. It's a strong urge to want to do that. Try not to. If you have to, play in front of a mirror, turn a webcam on so you can see an image of yourself, but you're not getting in the habit of looking down at what you're doing. That makes a big difference. Also, I had a teacher show me that a long time ago. He suggested practicing in front of a mirror. And you get a lot of benefits from that, because you'll also catch other weird movements and things that look awkward. You'll go like, that doesn't look right, and you'll correct those. You'll catch them. Otherwise, you might just keep playing that way and get in those habits. And finally, we're going to move on to the fifth one, and that is practicing without a metronome. I'm not saying you should always practice with a metronome, but most of the time you can, and you're going to get more out of your practice that way. Metronomes seem to be like dominant for drummers to use, which is ridiculous. Singers, guitarists, playing flute, playing piano, anyone should use a metronome. That's very critical of your timing and how you play, how you learn, how you progress. So if you don't have a metronome nowadays, it's easy. You can just get a free app. You can go to like metronomeonline.com. I'll put a few links below. There's plenty of them out there that are free. I've got one on my recording software, and a metronome is just going to keep time for you. I have it in 4/4, which is going to be the standard, so you hear like a higher pitch on the 1, and it counts in 4s. And it's going to sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So even if I'm just practicing a chord for the first time, if I practice it this way and strumming it, I'm going to kind of multitask. If it's going too fast, where you can slow it down or play, I'm playing quarter notes following the metronome. I can play every 2 clicks. So playing half notes. Or whole notes every 4 clicks. And whether you're practicing chords, strumming, scales, or technique, vibrato, sliding. Hammer-ons and pull-offs. All that is musical, and music is rhythmic, so you always want to do that stuff rhythmically. The more you practice with the metronome, the better you're going to be at it. You also learn to multitask. You're learning to listen at the same time as playing, which is really overlooked, I think, by a lot of musicians, but a very, very important aspect of being a musician. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Hit like if you like the videos. Hit subscribe. I'm trying to get my channel back up since I have been away from it for a while. If you guys like my videos and if you found them helpful, I'll also put my PayPal link below. Donations are highly welcomed, and they motivate me to do more videos. I'll keep at them, just it's on a when I have time basis for now, until the channel starts to pick up a bit, hopefully. Until then, see you next time.